Hello everyone, Mike Hal here. This is a spoiler alert. The movie, Logan, is discussed, with spoilers, from time code 5545 to 5915.
The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA. It may contain Batman references, time travel references, sexual references, lost trains of thought, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that the program is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15 or anyone who enjoys succinct, coherent conversation that might actually have a point. Minors must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or priest. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax, this is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello, Charlie.
And this is like, I feel like we're doing a news report for someone who's embedded like somewhere in the South Pole. Will is wearing the thickest North Face jacket.
Well, I don't just have a North Face jacket on underneath. Now I'm doing a bit of a strip show. This is like a Pass the Parcel podcast.
I like slower.
Yeah, it's slower. Yeah, this is a new thing we do called Pass the Podcast. And every time the music stops, I take a layer of clothing off. But you'll notice I've actually got a hoodie on underneath my other hoodie because it's so freezing here in Melbourne today. So I'm in my apartment. I was to be fully, I don't know, just fully honest. I don't know why I need to be fully honest. I don't know if anyone was like, could you please cut to the truth, Anderson?
Yeah, well, you're not under subpoena, Will. It's okay.
I was like, I realized I was about to admit that I was like committing a crime. And my brain was like, maybe you shouldn't say this on the podcast. Anyway, I was outside on the balcony in the wind having a smoke before the podcast, Charlie. And so I had my jacket on. But then when I came back inside, I was still cold. So I kept it on.
Okay.
So when you warm me up with the heat of podcasting during this podcast, I will take off different layers.
Fantastic to know that we spent the first 2 minutes talking about something that no one who listens will ever be able to see.
That, mate, they all have good imaginations, I imagine, if they listen to this podcast. So just, if you can't imagine...
You know what? I can describe it for people. Have you ever seen like a behind-the-scenes documentary and it's like a film crew and it's like Christopher Nolan and they're in they're in the Alps and he's wearing like a North Face jacket and he's got a headset on and he calls, and cut. That's what you look like right now. You're about to call cut.
Yeah, I look like I'm the assistant director on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, totally. you just need a clipboard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just running around going, we've got that shot. We'll put the dragon in there later. All right, everybody in.
All right, everybody take off your clothes.
Yeah, I've got a lot of clipboards because there's like 1,800 extras.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like a bit is like in Australia this week, I don't know if you saw much of it from America, but there's been massive cyclones, Cyclone Debbie off the north coast of like up North Queensland way in Australia, and it's been pretty full on. So there's been a lot of your morning breakfast shows, all had their intrepid reporters, including a friend of the podcast, Charlie, our very own Sam Mack.
What was Sam doing? Was he bloody surfing a bloody sewage pipe or something?
No, he found himself doing one of those proper ones where he's in the middle of the cyclone. I was like, Sam,
oh, really?
Sam, this isn't your jam. They signed you up to talk to wacky groups who are, putting on their own performance of the Rocky Horror Picture Show to raise money for the local community. That's your jam. You're meant to interview comedians on the street during the comedy festival. You're not meant to be standing in actual weather. You are not a qualified meteorologist, mate.
Was that one of those sideways umbrella kind of deals where as he's talking, the umbrella's being pulled off camera?
I mean, it was one of those ones where, like, when you watched it, he looked like he was somewhere reasonably safe, but it would not have surprised you if a cow had just flown through the background.
You just see Bill Pullman and Helen Hunt chasing after it in a four-wheel drive.
So yeah, that's always they need to be there for the weather, don't they? That's one of those things still as human beings, that when there's a massive weather event, even though it's in North Queensland, it's not affecting me in Melbourne or you in America, but there is something about that sort of major weather event that we still all gather around the televisions and we need to see our breakfast show host there in the middle of the cyclone.
Yeah, because I guess it's one of the few... You know what I think it is, Will? We all know we're going to die. And this is like the closest to the apocalypse we're going to get. Like,
By the
at
way,
some
if there's
stage,
anyone listening to this podcast who didn't know we were going to die, that was a terrible way to find out.
I meant at the end of
relax.
this podcast.
You're going to die.
Yeah. But there is this sense that, like, we forget sometimes. I think the ego of human beings is so great that we've somehow tricked ourselves into believing that we run the show. That it's, this is our planet and we run how things go. And every now and then, like, Mother Nature says, you know what? You are on a rock hurtling through space with no roof. Like, anything could happen to you guys right now. So we all warm our hands around the fire of, oh God, this could end at any second.
What I'm hearing you suggest, Charlie, is we should build a roof. That's what you're saying, right?
For the Earth, yeah. Earth roof.
I mean, forget the wall, Donald Trump. Imagine if he came out and his new proposal was, okay, I've got a new plan. That we're going to build what we're going to do is we're going to build a roof around the entire Earth, and we are going to get the sun to pay for it.
Yeah, there's been too many meteorites coming to the atmosphere illegally. We're going to build a roof.
I'm so sick of this solar energy coming in here for free every day, taking jobs off oil and gas.
Yeah. That's the Mr. Burns, isn't it?
Yeah,
block out the sun.
It wouldn't surprise you, would it?
It wouldn't. I was just actually thinking that. It's like I was checking Twitter before we came on the show to see if there's anything to talk about. And it's like, I mean, our show used to sort of, it was marked by an air of ridiculousness. You and I would come up with some strange hypothetical and we could riff on that for an hour. Now I feel like we're competing with real life.
Right.
There's nothing that you and I could invent that is this fucking bizarre.
I mean, it does make everything much harder because you're just like, hang on. Like, I don't think I can imagine something that I can't now imagine them doing.
Yeah.
Like
well, you know what's dead now? Political satire. Like, how do you satirize what's going on? I mean, we've talked about this before, but you know, the South Park guys, you can tell in that last season, like probably the best satirist of, you know, the last fucking 50 years. And towards the end of that series, there's nothing that they could make fun of. Like, it's weird. It has a kind of negating effect on satire.
Right. Imagine you're sitting in that office and you're like, oh, well, we'll just have our political character tell everyone to go fuck themselves and constantly tell them, you know, that they're shit and go fuck themselves. And that'll be hilarious because that would never happen. And then you're just like, actually, if he just told people to go fuck themselves, that would have been heaps less offensive than the things he actually did say. I mean, it feels like in this world, like, I mean, I'm in the middle of, obviously, of the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And, you know, I live half of my year in America and half in Australia. And so... Oh.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So is there a show happening at the Comedy Festival that is purely about Trump? And I'm thinking maybe it's kind of a new comedy troupe or a new comedian. And the whole thing is like, maybe in the poster he's wearing the funny like Trump kind of wig and there's like an American eagle or he's riding the eagle or something like that. Is there any of those posters around this year?
I mean, I haven't seen one yet, but I'm hoping there is one. Like an entire sketch comedy show that's all about Donald Trump. But it's like him sitting on the toilet and it's like Donald Dump. Like that, you know, but with a big but giving the thumbs up. But with really tiny hands. Tiny hands they've obviously photoshopped, but really badly for their poster.
Maybe it's even too fish in a barrel for even like an up-and-coming comedian. Maybe no one would do it because it's like, again, what are you going to make fun of?
It's really interesting. The review of the gala that I hosted, which is on the ABC for free this Sunday night, 8:30, and on ABC iView, people can watch the gala. But the gala that I hosted, there was a review of it in the Herald Sun the next day, and he commented on the fact that Donald Trump barely got mentioned for the entire night, and he was really surprised by that. And I got to be honest with you, on the night, I didn't really notice because sometimes you don't notice what isn't there. But no one really did. And I don't know if in the second show they really did either. So I think, ordinarily in a comedy festival, you would come into it and think, oh, everybody's going to be doing jokes about Donald Trump. But I'm not sure that's the case. I mean, even with my show, I wrote a list of all the things that Donald Trump was against. And I was like, I'm going to write a show that's about all those things, but that doesn't mention him because I don't want to give him the sort of, the publicity or attack the person. I'd rather talk about the issues. So I think perhaps a lot of people have taken that approach, in different ways. But there's got to be one. There's got to be one or someone who's spewing they didn't do this because they thought everybody was, and then they would have been the only show doing an entire Donald Trump show.
If there are comedians in Australia who can riff on hummus and Lord of the Rings as a pop culture pun, then surely it's not that hard to weave in hummus and Trump in some regard.
I mean, I would have thought that it would be perfect for, well, you know what? Dilruk Jayasinghe, who's a really, really funny stand-up comedian, his show is called The Art of the Dill, which is...
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's good. Perfect.
There we go. Good. All right. Somebody did do it.
I mean, he's a character that would... Like, if you're watching... Have you ever... Fat Pizza is very broad comedy. Not my particular taste, but very popular amongst some people.
Much like pizza itself, beloved by the masses.
Beloved by the masses. But the characters in that are so, like, cartoonishly huge.
Yeah.
I don't even think he could fit Donald Trump. Like, I think Paul Fennick would go... After a take a go, too much. That's way too over the top.
Well, the weird thing about him, too, though, he isn't as actual... he's kind of like a weird buffoon. Like, you kind of think of him as being like this WWE style entertainer who's like really charismatic and really, but I actually think that a lot of the time he just kind of seems like petulant and grumpy and not actually particularly witty or charismatic. Like, he's got a weird charisma that like appeals to people despite the fact...
You're viewing it the wrong way. It's anti-comedy. That's why people find it amusing. It is because he is so crotchety and sullen and kind of, not witty and all that kind of stuff. That's the beauty of it. It's like a schlumpy character. It's like, remember Chris Farley had that character, the motivational speaker? Was it Mike Foley? Where you're going to live in a van down by the river. And the whole thing that made it so funny was he was such a fucking schlub. Like, he was just... And I think that is the appeal. Matt Foley, not Mike Foley.
Well, maybe that is it. Maybe that's that ordinary man. But I don't know. It just, to me, always feels like he's just having a bit of a sook.
Yeah. Well, that's the other fucking crazy thing, too, is... Like, I mean, look, there's lots of crazy things. How do you even unpack it? But the fact that someone who is meant to represent the kind of voiceless comes from such a privileged background and is blatant about it. Like, I mean, I don't know who talks more about their wealth, like rappers or Donald Trump. He's got that real fucking like gangster flow when it comes to big noting how much money he has.
Yeah, but also, Charlie, like, who knows more about race issues than someone who's a racist? I mean...
That's a good point.
So, I mean, they obviously have an interest in the area already. He gets it. You know what I mean? He's been being racist for years. He's not a fly-by-nighter. He's been kicking black people out of his apartment building, giving money to persecute, black criminals for crimes they didn't commit. Like, he's got a long history of that. And that's just an engagement in the community. I mean, the one when it comes to race with him is every time he refers to black people, he only ever talks about inner cities. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah, totally.
Are the only black people that you've ever met on that TV show The Wire? Because I think black people live everywhere, dude.
I have to update you. I think we've hit peak Dolph.
Oh, okay. Hang on. All right. Well, here we go.
Okay,
Strap
so
myself in.
To catch everyone up, Will's apartment that he rents in Hollywood, his neighbour, it has been alleged for quite some time, is Dolph Lundgren. We still haven't had 100% confirmation, but Will's friends have seen him. We know his name. A D Lundgren is on the door when you press the button on the front door. Lots of kind of third-party sightings, but no, what would you call it? 100% confirmation?
Yeah, that's right.
The FBI must have a word for it.
There's one way that we could actually confirm it 100%, which is you could just push that button. You could push the D Lundgren button and see if Dolph answers on the other end.
We don't have to do that, Will, because
hang on.
I'm happy to confirm.
Oh, hang on.
That Dolph Lundgren, the Swedish karate champion, PhD in engineering and movie star, is indeed your neighbor. And I know this because on Saturday, I was upstairs using the gym that's in your apartment building. I was on my own. I went to the bathroom, took the kind of dump you take when you think that no one else is around. So a long time I was in there.
A Donald dump?
And then when I came out, Dolph Lundgren was standing in the middle of the gym.
Wow.
And I don't know if the two events of me going and taking a long dump and him doing this thing of opening the door are related, but when I walked out, he was opening the door to the gym. Got some air in. But he was really lovely. Like, he said, is that okay with you if I leave that open? I said, yeah, no problem. So then we start working out, just the two of us.
You and
It's a
Dolph?
bit like it. Me and Dolph just working out in your gym.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can give you.
no,
I can
slow
give you.
down.
I can describe every single exercise he did because even though I was doing mine, I had my eyes fixed on the mirror the whole time and watched his entire routine.
Slow down. I want every bit of this. I want to know every bit of this. So when he talks to you initially about the door being open, does he introduce himself? Do you talk to him? Do you say, hey, we're neighbours or anything like that? You just both go about your workout?
We got straight into it. Yeah,
Okay,
he's just
yeah,
like, is it
all
okay if I have the door open? I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to use this area here. He's
And
like,
what's
cool,
he
no
wearing?
problem.
Describe what he's wearing.
So he's wearing like a red T-shirt, and it had the name that I think is like it's a company or a charity he's involved in. It's like, I don't know, it's called Leader or Master or some kind of like, inspirational. It's a red T-shirt.
Just on that note, could I just mention that there was a great photo of Russell Crowe, our favourite Russell Crowe, in the paper the other day out exercising, wearing a Water Diviner singlet. So good to see Russell rocking that film merch that he's still obviously got in a box in his basement.
I love that he had printed up a bunch of Water Diviner T-shirts as if they're going to sell like hotcakes.
Not even
Singlets.
T-shirts, singlets. Water Diviner exercise singlets, for that lucrative exercise market that also loved the movie The Water Diviner. Anyway, so he's wearing a red T-shirt. Is he wearing tracksuit pants?
Basketball shorts, like
yeah.
knee-length kind of
Okay,
basketball
yep.
shorts and trainers. Needless to say, the bloke's in good nick. He's a lot more kind of rugged in person than probably what most people remember. I mean, he must be in his, 60s? Michael, can you give us an age check on Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah, but he'd be getting up there. He's definitely... He's in good shape for an older guy, but he's a bit Robert Redford around the face, isn't he?
100%. You know what it's like? You've started to see it with Brad Pitt a little bit. Like, Brad Pitt's still a handsome dude, but he's starting to get, like, the wrinkles and that real kind of, But to be honest, when I saw him, he's very handsome. You can see why he's a movie star. But he actually had a bit of a Michael Shannon quality about him because he's a big dude, 6'4", I would estimate. But he's got that big square jaw. So with the rugged thing, it's actually added something to him. I would not be surprised, Will. He turns 60 in November.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised.
3rd of November, we should get him something.
Oh, totally.
I'm going to leave him something for his birthday. That won't freak him out, right?
We can leave him this podcast. That would freak him out.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, we're creeps. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting cast. Like, I reckon someone like a Tarantino or someone will cast him in a small role and he'll kill because he's sort of got this quality now where he just looks, he's got all that kind of original alpha male kind of, Aryan quality, but now he's got like a bit more character as well. So,
well, Charlie, I don't want to be crazy here, but you're a film writer and you're looking to make a movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It'd be great to be able to cast someone who has like a little bit of an international kind of presence, but in that reverse role.
You are 100% right.
That would be one of those things that would make a new director, much like it made Tarantino in the first place, because you're also the vehicle of a beloved character having their movie come back. Your wife is a movie director. Look, I'm not saying that this is a perfect storm, but Koshy and Sam Mack are going to be there in a second to commentate it. So that's how well the storm is going.
Yeah, we could create his being John Malkovich, being Dolph Lundgren.
Yes, definitely you could. I think that's good. I think he's looking for that
smart.
opportunity.
You know what you do? Will you leave it on his doorstep?
No, you do a mix-up in the mail, right?
Yes.
You accidentally send it to
Knock
his
on the
address
door.
instead of mine.
Yeah, you're fucking clever, man. Get over here now.
Excuse me, someone delivered this script to my door instead of yours. I'm Will, by the way. Dolph. Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan. Anyway, I accidentally opened it. I didn't realize that it was for you, and I read it, and geez, it's a compelling story. Anyway, this is for you. Anyway, I'll be upstairs if you want to hang out or whatever.
Just so happens I know the writer and the director, so if you're interested...
No, that's too much. Then he'd know he wouldn't read it. I've got to lure him in a little bit first.
Okay. Just the tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip first, Dolph. So, how long did he work? Work out for?
So we're probably in there about 45 minutes, an hour.
And were you at the start of your training at that stage, or did you stay longer because he was there?
Oh, of course I stayed longer. I didn't leave till after he left.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like stretching. I know you're meant to, but it's just like, I'm going to going to take my time because I was also part of me was looking for an opportunity. I'm a bit like you, Will. I don't like going up to sort of like famous people, even if I'm big fans of theirs and bothering them, especially like, he's at home, it's his gym.
Right, it's his safe space. He's building where he wants to feel that he can just go to the gym and not be bothered by people.
Yeah, and so what I was looking for was an organic interaction, some kind of like, like a song comes on the radio and it's like, oh, I know that song. Let's start talking, whatever.
You both reach for the same free weight. Your hands touch gently. You look in each other's eyes. It's a meet cute moment. You were looking for your meet cute moment.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Dolph.
he's like, hey, Charlie, can you come over here and spot me? Maybe you need someone to spot him.
I don't know that he does. The man is incredibly powerful. Like, that's the thing, because he kind of, 60 years old. When I was young, 60 years old was a grandpa. Like, that seemed like an old. So he is kind of like this old bloke, but he started off on the treadmill, just did his 10 minutes of getting the body warmed up.
Oh, so he did his warm up.
And then he sort of did it was kind of like a calisthenics sort of thing, I guess, where he was just sort of working just more movement-based stuff, just sort of like, going into sort of like different positions and stuff, and then working his way just back and forth, loosening up everything. And then he started doing push-ups, wide push-ups. Then he went to the free weights, and he hammered the bench. The closest I got to actually having a proper conversation with him was that I'd put my keys and my wallet on a bench, and because I was on the ground doing sort of core stuff, and he came over and he said, "Do you mind if I move your wallet and keys? I want to use the bench." And I said, "That's fine."
Does he not know?
Chickened out.
Did he not know, Billy Brownless style, that you never touch another man's wallet? Did he not know that? Has he not caught up to date with that?
No, I think Dolph Lundgren is the kind of guy who touched a lot of people's wallets in the metaphorical and the literal sense.
Yeah,
like,
it's a good point.
I imagine, when Dolph walks into a room, Dolph gets what Dolph wants.
Wallets open for Dolph, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that was probably like the first 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, this is fine because there's going to be some natural point in which,
a crossover.
I'll take a break, he takes a break, whatever, we start chatting. But I was foiled because another person came into the gym who I don't know if he's a neighbor or a mate of his, but they knew each other. But the same age, older kind of, I think it might have been, probably about the same age. But also quite big as well, obviously like a gym kind of guy. And they started talking. They had been out the night before. So all of a sudden, I'm now bumped down, you know what I mean? Like, he's got someone, it's not like, if it was just another person he didn't know, then everyone's on the same level. Now there's a dude who's usurped me. Like, I can't get past guy who he went out for a drink with last night guy.
Is there any chance you could have used guy who went out with a drink last night guy to get to him, though?
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so you really needed me here. You needed me like Cyrano de Bergerac style. You needed an earpiece in, and I would have been up in my apartment, and I would have been talking you through what you should have done. You just go over into the corner and speak into your towel. You're like, there's another guy here now. What do I do about the other guy? Now I can't talk to him. I'm like, Charlie, talk to the other guy. That's a power move because then Lundgren knows that you haven't talked to him, but you're just an ordinary guy who likes to talk to people, right? And then the other guy, he knows Dolph anyway, and you've made friends with the nice one. The one who's not famous always wants to feel flattered around the one who is famous, right? That's a win-win. You've made everyone happy.
It's kind of, I had to neg Dolph. Is that what you're saying?
You had to neg Dolph.
You know what I should have said? I should have said, hey, Dolph, that's a nice T-shirt. I saw the really fat guy wearing one of those the other day, and then just walk off.
No, because you'd be dead now. He would put
here's the other thing.
He'd put you down the recycling chute, and you'd be dead.
Here's the other thing. I didn't eavesdrop on their conversation, but I picked up quite a lot of it.
Just from hearing. Let me ask you this then. Did you have headphones in?
Yes. So that's how I was eavesdropping. I had headphones in, but was not listening to music.
Good plan. Okay, that one I would have suggested.
You honestly, you could have literally, because it's the kind of headset, the Bluetooth headset, you could have actually called me from your apartment. And we could have literally done this because I would have been able to hear you, but they wouldn't be able to hear you. We're going to do this. We're going to I'm coming back. I'm spending all my savings to come back to LA. Specifically, I'm going to spend every day at your place, going up to the gym. waiting for Dolph, and when he comes, I'm going to get you to call me, and then we're going to go do this whole thing again.
All I'm saying is, Charlie, we're both going to be there a couple of days before the LA Podcast Festival.
Yeah, stalk Dolph.
That's our perfect time. Because if we could make that happen in the 48 hours before the LA Podcast Festival, well, we don't have to come up with any other stories for the LA Podcast Festival.
Fuck, man, do you think we could do it?
We could.
All right, but
it'd be great if we could get him on the podcast. That would be the ultimate dream. Imagine.
Okay, so we're gonna cast him in a film. We're gonna put him on the podcast. I mean, I think he does all right. Like, I don't think Dolph. He seems to work all the time.
Oh no!
Like,
I don't think we'd be doing him a charity. He's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it'd be great for us.
He'd be doing us a charity.
He'd be doing us a massive favour.
Yeah.
That's how I was looking at it.
So I did eavesdrop a bit, but I'll protect his privacy, the details.
Of course.
But what I'll give you is my sense of the tone of the conversation.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's
which
nice.
Gave me an insight into the man.
Nice.
And so they talked about they'd gone out for drinks, they'd met up with some friends, and they'd had a good night. And it was like they both agreed it was a good night. But there was something about the way Dolph phrased his response, which was like, it was good to have, it was like this. He said, it was good to go out and have a couple of laughs. Always good just to have a couple of laughs. That was the tone of it. There was kind of a wistfulness, a kind of, perhaps he hadn't been looking forward to it, but then was surprised that he enjoyed it. But there was some, I sensed some, there was some, I don't know, there's some melancholy.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing about Dolph. Like, you know, he's got this gruff exterior, but he's got an emotional heart, I think, you know. I think he is a poet.
One of the things I was going to open with,
Yeah.
if I did get a chance to sort of acknowledge, hey, you're Dolph and I'm a fan or whatever, was I thought I can't open with any of the obvious ones. He's going to get the Rocky Fours. He's going to get the Expendables. He's going to get the Kindergarten Cop 2 fans. I wanted to open with something that like was probably more obscure.
Okay.
So I wanted to say, hey, I saw your TED Talk.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good,
right?
Charlie. I reckon that would be what was his TED Talk on?
His TED Talk was like overcoming anger, embracing vulnerability.
Oh, well, there you go. Perfect. I mean, this feels like that would be something that would be a good opportunity to talk to him because it, you know, embraces his vulnerability. And he wouldn't be able
that's
to,
right.
And just immediately also, he wouldn't be able to be angry at you for bringing it up because that is against the point of the TED Talk. So,
yeah, no, I sense it was a kind of, I think, you know what? Having what seeing what he's talked about on the TED Talk, because he talked a lot about, you know, hiding from, you know, emotional pain with sex and drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, like putting himself through a tough time. And then then only later in life coming to realize that, you know, it's got to work on himself and couldn't hide from all that stuff. Hearing him then talk about going out for some drinks and then having some laughs, and it was a lot of laughs, was like, oh, you know what, this is good. Like, he's just gone out to hang out with some friends. There was no need to be anyone or hide from anything. There's no social anxiety. It was good to have a couple of laughs.
right. And he didn't like have to make a whole night of it. He didn't have to like get out there and get on the gear and drink all night and whatever like they did in the old days. You can just go out and have a couple of laughs. Or maybe
He didn't have to...
he's on a laugh rationing and he only has a couple per day. So he's like, he's just saying it's good to have a couple of laughs, but that is it. No more or no less laughs.
So those guys chat for a bit longer, and then everyone goes into a sort of weird, silent kind of workout. No one's talking.
Okay.
For about 15 minutes. Occasionally, one of us is going out to get some fresh air or whatever, and you know, but everyone's just focusing on the job. And I can kind of sense there's a bit of minor bit of competition going on, particularly between Dolph and his mate, just a little bit. I mean, if you're working out next to Dolph Lundgren, see, I wasn't lifting weights. I imagine if you're lifting weights next to Dolph Lundgren, there's going to be a temptation to go heavier than you probably should.
Charlie, I can barely lift up my coffee cup, but if I was in the gym with Dolph Lundgren and he puts, like, if he was just doing kind of lighter reps on the bench press or whatever, like immediately after he got off it, I would go and put it on a heavier weight and at least try to lift one just for the story.
Dislocate your shoulder.
Dislocate my shoulder. My shoulder's hanging off my arm. And then I just walk by him going, do you even lift, bro? I'm going to hospital.
Can you give me a lift to the hospital, bro?
Can you give me a lift to Cedars-Sinai, bro? This is mostly your fault. I only did this to compete with you because I love you. Oh, I don't understand my own emotions. Can I watch your TED Talk?
So after the weight session,
Yeah.
he moved into stretching. And this is where I was the most impressed. He is super fucking flexible still. Like, he's a karate guy, so could do high kicks and all that kind of shit. I don't know if he could do the splits or anything, but he stretched for about 15 minutes, and it was like, for an old dude, like, he was like so fucking flexible, like had full movement and stuff. But the best bit happened just after the stretching, because I'm like, oh fuck, he's almost done, so I haven't had an opportunity. So I was letting it go. He goes outside, and like a scene from one of his films from the 80s, he does whatever karate people do as a kind of like, in kung fu films, you'll see someone just like in the garden by the lake, and they're like, doing all kind of like moves with their arms and stuff.
Like a kind of Tai Chi style thing.
Tai Chi style thing. He goes out on the balcony, and for 5 minutes, he does his like, I'm a fucking karate badass, like Tai Chi shit. Like, it was amazing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the best.
Like, if you were going to put him in a film, and he's some kind of loner who's sworn off, combat or whatever, that's his opening scene. Is him on the fucking balcony doing his like Tai Chi shit. It was awesome. It was so great. And then he came back in, and he said goodbye to his mate. But then he made a point of coming over to me, like actually came over and said, "Hey, nice to meet you. See you later," and walked out the door.
Oh, well, I mean, I just love him even more.
Yeah. So let's stalk him, this guy we love.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about him for hours uncomfortably behind his back on a podcast and then stalk him because, we love him.
Oh, he also, we had actually another encounter before that. Gemma and I were in the car park, and he was there. He's got a very expensive looking sports car. Again, like something from an 80s film.
There's a few of those in that car park though, hey? I noticed
you've got a few Teslas and stuff.
Yeah, in my building, like some people have either bought new cars or new people have moved in who've got better cars because I go down there sometimes and go, these are some...
Have you seen the car that's like, it's like a racing car?
Yeah.
It's got like stickers and shit on it?
It is a racing car. And I've met the dude whose car it is and talked to him about it a couple of times. And he occasionally takes it out and takes it racing and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you can't, that's not street legal, is it?
I think it's street legal in the way that you're allowed to get it to somewhere sort of thing. I don't think you could just drive. I don't think you could use it as an Uber.
Do you think I could, if I knocked on his door, he could just give me the keys and I could just sit in the car park? Like, I won't take it out. I just want to sit in the car, like Donald Trump in a truck.
Well, you don't even really need the keys. Just if you let it, you just go, can I sit in it? I'll make the noises myself. I don't have to turn it off.
Yeah, Gem and I saw Dolph. He was in his car. I think it's weird because it didn't look like a Tesla, but it looked like an expensive European car. And he was charging it with a plug. So I don't know if, one of those cars do electric, like if all people do electric cars or whatever. But that still wasn't a confirmed sighting because we were walking past and he was sitting in the car, sunglasses on. Like, again, it could have been Dan Lundgren or anyone. But this was 100% eyes on, confirmed. The eagle has landed. Dolph is your neighbor. Congratulations. Well done. I will now spend the next however long I'm here going to that gym every day.
I mean, it feels like the 8 years I've been going there and the outrageous amount of money I pay to rent that apartment that I can't really afford anymore, seeing the Australian dollars gone to shit, is all worth it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to suggest this to you because I know this is an expensive apartment and everything, but I was thinking we need to raise a Dolph Lundgren Patreon level. Like, if we raised enough money on Patreon, we could just like rent this apartment. We'd just turn it into like our TOFOP LA office, and that way we get to keep maybe hanging out with Dolph Lundgren.
That's a good point, actually. It's worth it. Let's base our entire business model around whether we can hang out with Dolph Lundgren or not. And I, to be honest, I don't think that's the stupidest idea we've had.
We apply for a bank loan, and I was like, "So, is this a personal loan?" Well, no, it's a business loan. Yeah. We're investing in Dolph.
Yeah, we've put all our money into Dolph Lundgren. He doesn't know yet, but we're pretty sure he'll be cool with it because I live in the same apartment as him sometimes. We're pretty sure it's him. Here's a picture of his, when you push the button at the here's a picture of him in the gym I took on my phone.
See, I was very tempted. That was the other thing is like, I can't hassle him. I can't ask for a photo. Like, I think need to build the friendship first.
Yeah.
And then...
If it was your last day there, or, you know, if we were giving up the apartment immediately, I've signed until the end of the year. We've got time to make this happen. And the one thing we don't want to rush is that we don't want to rush and scare him off. You know?
No, that's right.
We want this to
play the long game. We play the Lundgren game.
Yeah, the Lundgren game. Sorry, it's hard to say, but written down it'd work well. Speaking of stalking celebrities, did you follow any of that stuff about the missing Richard Simmons podcast? So, you know, Richard Simmons...
No, so I was shaking my head. I should say no. I forgot people can't see.
Do you know who Richard Simmons is, right? He's
the exercise dude.
Yeah. And so somebody did this podcast all about, you know, where was he and why did he disappear and what's going on with Richard Simmons. And I never listened to it because it felt really intrusive to me, but it ended up being the number one podcast in the world for ages. And like he's still in the top 5 everywhere. But then there's been all this attention on him, and there was all these rumors that he was transitioning, or that he was a recluse now, or that he was really, really sick or something. And he's kind of had to come out and, you know, deny these things and say, please, you know, this is invading my privacy and stuff. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that we are not having one of those situations with Dolph. You know, we're not going to stalk you, Dolph. We're not going to do tours at the house.
No, but if you want to hang out on our balcony, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Teach us kung fu kicks and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be unreal. What would we do with Dolph?
Well, actually, you know, we mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I said how I was doing that karate workout in my underwear in your living room.
Yeah.
Because I've got this little phone app that's got a personal trainer. So I was using the same app when I was in the gym with Dolph, and it was the same workout, which is like this core workout. But this time, when it suggested I get up and do a kick, I'm like, fuck that. No way. Not in front of Dolph.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. What do you reckon we'd do? Like, if we got him on the podcast, I mean, other than having a couple of laughs, what else do you think? Like, what do you think his areas of, what do you think he'd be interested in? What sort of stuff, you know, if we were to kind of like, Dolph, you'll love this. It'll be fun. What do you reckon Dolph's interests are? What his passions are?
Well, I guess, you know, he wouldn't want to talk about work, I don't think, like past glories. I think that would be one to avoid. I mean, if he's done this kind of, Mike Hal's brought up the link, Dolph Lundgren on healing and forgiveness, a TED Talk. I find that people, because I'm one of them who have gone through therapy, tend to want to talk about therapy.
Right.
Because it's this endless well. Like when you first kind of have that... when you have that kind of microscope poured back in on yourself, it becomes endlessly fascinating to start raking through, you know, your life choices, or, you know, how you've ended up in a certain way, or what influences have made you the person who you're in. I mean, I reckon that would probably be a way to at least start a conversation in a way that's not, let's talk about Rocky IV.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, it feels like he's got some thoughts about, like, life and the world. I mean, even the fact that he's, you know, he's living in West Hollywood now. He's clearly kind of, it seems like he's in a new patch of his life, you know, in some way. You know, he seems like he's back on the scene a bit now. You know, obviously he's going through some sort of growth.
All right, you know what I reckon it would be? To satisfy both kind of interests and curiosities with what he knows about himself now, with the kind of awareness he has now. Then we go back through his career, because there would be a different perspective. Because I imagine one experience was as a young man in the midst of this kind of like, you know, this cyclone of fame and partying and whatever. And then now there's kind of more open, reflective, insightful Dolph. Like I think we could maybe get his perspective. If almost 60-year-old Dolph could talk to 27-year-old Dolph, like what would he say to him? Something like that.
Okay, hang on. I found a link here to a Rotten Tomatoes article on Dolph, and it's they've asked Dolph what his 5 favourite films are.
Okay, good. That's a good one.
So that'll give us an insight, right? But also something that perhaps we could use as small chat if we 100%. Like in a Dolph situation. So
let me try and guess what they are.
No, yeah, this will definitely be fun. Right, you'll
Okay.
definitely enjoy this, right? Yeah, yes. And by the way, Mike Hell points out, good crossover to our other podcast, that apparently, like Nathan Buckley, the coach of the Collingwood football team, Dolph Lundgren can tell you his top 5 films at all times. All right, 5 films. All right, I'll start with an easy one. We spoke earlier about a director that is famous for giving people a comeback film. One of his
Tarantino.
films. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the obvious choice, because it's everyone's favorite Tarantino film, is Pulp Fiction. But I wonder if Dolph is going to give a more interesting answer. Like maybe...
Okay, you know what I'll do?
I'll
read you his comments about the film,
yeah.
and you can then guess which film it is.
I really loved Uma Thurman. You son of a bitch, Dolph.
That's one you can see a million times, and it's like a whole new style and dialogue and all that stuff, is what he said.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction was the movie, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to... this one's a bit of a classic as well. This is what he said about this one. One movie I like is... I won't say it. Because it's got everything. The lighting, the acting... by the way, mentions the lighting first, which is an interesting choice. The lighting, the acting, the story, the performances. Again, lighting seems really high in that list for me. But anyway.
Well, it depends what the film is.
You guys all remember the Oscars where they do Best Actor, Best Film, and then, of course, the big one that everyone wants to win, Best Lighting. The lighting, the acting, the story, the performances, direction, everything put together. You could always watch it. If you've seen it 20 times, you can see it another 20 times, There's always little details. That's the thing. Attention to detail.
God, that could be fucking anything. Give me a decade.
1972, this movie came out.
The Godfather.
Oh, God. I thought 1972 is fine. Charlie won't immediately know what it is, but it turns out you did. So human internet strikes again.
Well, I think you gave me it didn't win the Oscar in 73, so I just had to pick the best film from the year before.
Okay, all right, here I go. This one is where our worlds just come together one more time.
You and Dolph?
Well, I won't give too much away so that you can...
Okay, so it's a Christopher Nolan film.
I like this film because it's an epic and they use CGI really well, I thought. I like those movies. A lot of films I've done, it was about the hero's journey and all that Joseph Campbell stuff. That's a good one.
Hang on. Sorry, can you read me the last half of the quote again when he talks about Joseph Campbell?
A lot of films I've done, it was about the hero's journey and all that Joseph Campbell stuff. That's a good one.
There's so many films it could be, though.
Look,
give me a decade.
It came out in the 2000s.
Okay, so it's good special effects. So it's an action film.
It's
action sci-fi.
Action hero's journey style film, and it has a crossover with this podcast.
So it has to be a Batman film. It has to be The Dark Knight.
It is, of course, Gladiator from 2000, starring Russell Crowe. Go, Russ, go.
Shit. The hero's journey? Is it really? I guess it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, here we go. This one, interesting. It doesn't give a lot of description of this, so it might be hard for you to guess this one.
Okay.
This is a good movie, I think. Simplicity and epic qualities. And acting.
Well, I think the wrong emphasis. This is a good movie, I think. Not I think. There's no question mark.
It says, this is a good movie, comma, I think, full stop.
This is a good movie, I think. Yeah, no, the emphasis can still be in, this is a good movie, I think.
Simplicity and epic qualities and acting and everything. Story.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again? It's got good acting and everything, full stop, story, full stop.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'm just reading it, mate.
So he's saying it's a good film, there's a good story, and I'm meant to guess from that.
Yeah, okay.
Give me a decade.
I'll give you a clue to this one. It's a Western.
Okay.
It came out in the
Unforgiven?
90s. Unforgiven.
Unforgiven?
Gee, you didn't even... That's very good, Charlie. All right.
Thank you.
Last but not least, this one came out in the 60s.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of those epic pictures. The story is great. I think that's what's cool is you had a young director. The fact that he had to walk on there, blah, 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 blah. I can kind of relate to that. He brought this kid on set and he didn't really know him. And he turned out to be this incredible genius who did these incredible battle scenes and just some beautiful stuff in there with real extras. They had 5,000 extras. If you call cut, reset, it took half a day to put everybody back in their positions. That's an accomplishment, I think. Scale, but also keeping it intimate in those close-ups. They said he designed the last shot of his movies first. He tried to sum up the whole picture in the last shot of the movie. And then there's more that would give it away. But he really likes this film because because pretty much for Unforgiven, he went, acting and everything, story. And then
story, full stop
this
story.
one, there's like an essay and a half. So
I'm going to go just a complete step in the dark. Lawrence of Arabia?
you're in the right sort of zone, but he's talking about Spartacus.
Ah.
Yeah, and Kubrick directed that.
So Spartacus and Gladiator. He's
Gladiator.
put 2 Gladiator films in and no Shawshank Redemption. What's going on, Dolph?
Oh,
Where's
by
the
the way,
Shawshank?
they shot the last scene of Rocky IV first. There you go. There's a little interesting fact.
What is the last scene of Rocky IV?
I don't know, but that's what it said.
There's actually a deleted scene I saw from Rocky IV. So, Ivan Drago loses to Rocky in Russia in front of Mikhail Gorbachev and all those guys. And so there's a deleted scene you can find on YouTube where it's actually great, but I can understand why they cut it because it seems like it's from a different film, where drunk Ivan Drago, having lost to Rocky, stumbles into this very stereotypical looking Soviet bar where everyone's like huddled around drinking vodka and stuff. And he's drunk, obviously, because he's lost to Rocky. And so he's staggering about the bar and stuff, and people are either keeping their distance because they're embarrassed of him or because it's Ivan Drago. But someone makes a mistake of bumping him or something, and then Ivan Drago goes fucking berserk on this bar. And I think, I'm not imagining this. Michael, you might be able to watch this clip. It's very short. Let us know. But I think he machine guns someone in the bar at the end of the film.
What?
So it goes from... Yeah. Michael, just Google cuts deleted scene Rocky IV, Ivan Drago. And I'm pretty sure I might have imagined it. But yeah, it's just like he punches some guy up or punches a few guys up, then grabs his submachine gun and just nails a bunch of people in this bar. And you're like, yeah, that's a kind of a bit of a downer ending.
Right. You
But
think?
Ivan Drago just turns fucking Columbine.
Oh,
All right.
that in here?
Yeah, Michael's found the clip.
Hang on.
Can we share this and watch this, or should we just play it at the same time?
Maybe let's just... I don't know how it works. But
We'll just click play at the same time. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
All right. It's coming up on my thing as you're starting.
Me
Oh, here
too.
he is.
Just started.
He's on the screen in mine.
So it's that bar I was telling you about. There's
Yeah,
Ivan
he's
Drago.
having
He's
having
drinking.
a drink.
A bit bummed out.
Yeah. So lots of people are
This
having
is-
a good time, and he's drinking
Yeah.
heavily. Oh, he burps. And
He
gets
burps.
everybody's
The
attention.
bar goes quiet. The music just cut off when he burped. That was good
Yeah.
timing.
But then everybody comes back to him. Hang on. Here we go. Oh, now he's tossing people out of the way as he goes
Yeah,
through
yeah.
this bar. Oh, hang on. Now he's got everybody's attention. Oh, somebody offered him a drink, kind of.
Yeah.
His shirt's
He looks
open.
pissed off.
He
sticks
oh,
his
no.
bottle of vodka in
Oh,
his
hang on.
pocket.
He's picking a fight with some not that tough looking dude with a lot of hair on his shoulders.
He tells the guy to get out of his seat. The guy hits him in the balls, does nothing. Punches him in the guts, does nothing.
Nothing again.
Punches
This is
the
Ivan
nothing.
Drago.
Ivan Drago laughs.
Laughs.
That's humiliating.
Laughs in the face of danger. Back, a headbutt.
Oh, then headbutts him.
Oh, and
Shit.
punches out the
punches out the
bartender.
barman.
Oh, you're broke, my
The guy
fucking
says,
nose.
"You." Oh, it breaks it again.
I don't know why I'm speaking English in this Russian bar.
Yeah. So now the bar's gone back to normal. He
Now
starts singing a song.
Probably the Russian national anthem, I
Well,
imagine.
he just shoved a bloke.
And he's hang on. A guy stands up and starts singing with him, but
Yeah. I think he's picking a fight with Super Mario, Super Soviet Mario.
that's what he looked like. He looked like Siberian Mario.
He's picked a guy up by the face and thrown him on the ground. Then a guy comes in with a gun.
Couple of guys from Hogan's Heroes come in.
He punches him. He kicks his
grabs
and then
the
look,
gun.
he's gonna look. Yeah, he just goes Columbine on the bar.
My God.
2 more soldiers come in. He takes a swig from his vodka and is like, "Fuck you guys."
And then
his coach or someone comes in.
yeah, he just shot up a bar. Are you out of your mind? No, just out of bullets. The end.
You know what? I don't think that is from Rocky. It seems like it's from another film, right? Like that's got to be from another film because that makes no sense that would happen.
That doesn't.
Does it?
It can't. No.
No.
No, that can't be, right? That's just got to be something else.
Mike,
was
you
it
have to do
labelled
some
Rocky?
investigation because I think, we may have misled the audience. It would seem strange at the end of Rocky IV for Ivan Drago, but
No.
it looks like Russia, right?
It does, but it must be from some other film. I have found, while we've been Googling here, some other up-to-date Dolph Lundgren information, though, because he's having a bit of a career resurgence here. Only,
Well, with us at least.
only on March the 7th, he was singing the Russian national anthem. There you go. On March the 7th, it was announced that the band Imagine Dragons, do you know Imagine Dragons? They're quite a big, popular American band. They had that huge hit, Radioactive, and here we go. It takes a lot of confidence to engage in fisticuffs against an action star like Dolph Lundgren, but it seems Imagine Dragons frontman Dan Reynolds is up to the challenge. And a true believer, just like the title of the band's latest single. In a new video released Tuesday, March the 7th, Reynolds and Lundgren face off in a futuristic, bloody boxing match, putting new meanings to the song's lyrics, praising the virtues of pain. Well, there you go. I mean, hang on. Now I'm looking at this. Sorry, I just need to have a quick look at Believer. Oh, he's looking good. Okay, I probably can't play the music. Yeah, sorry, Imagine Dragons, and we're not going to be able to pay for this. But there he is. Oh my God, he's like bleeding, and he's got his shirt off. Okay, we can't play all that, but we'll have a look at that later. But I think this is a big comeback time for Dolph.
Yeah, you think there's something in the zeitgeist, the
Yeah.
dolphin, the Dolph Naissance.
Right. Well, you know what it is, because he has been in Arrow a bit. He's been like appearing in the TV show Arrow. So I just think it's just like we're feeling it. He's back.
I think so. I think a Tarantino-esque revival, someone who kind of can take that persona and use it to their advantage, is going to do really well.
Now, Charlie.
Can I just say
go on.
that clip that we watched?
Yeah.
I have a feeling it is from another Dolph Lundgren film that came out not long after Rocky IV, called Red Scorpion, in which he plays, I believe, a Russian assassin.
That makes a lot more sense.
Can you just Google the synopsis for Red Scorpion? Because I think that must be. He looks like Dolph Lundgren, but it would be strange that Dolph would gun down a bar after Rocky IV.
It makes no sense.
And the only reason we're saying that is that's what it says on YouTube. It says it's a deleted scene. Ivan Drago after he loses to Rocky Balboa. But for the first time ever, something on the internet may not be true.
Yeah, I've on the bottom of my list of up-to-date Dolph Lundgren news, because I just Googled Dolph Lundgren news, and there was quite a lot.
Have you got Google alerts going for Dolph?
But down the bottom here, from the 20th of March, so this is pretty hot off the presses, only 11 days ago, there was an article on Crave Online, and here's the headline: Dolph Lundgren has a hot daughter you have to check out. So
maybe that's what we open with
Yeah.
when we see him.
yeah, but
Can we check out your hot daughter?
I do. Oh no, okay, they're modelling shots. It felt for a minute that I was like it was just one of those pervy articles where they've gone through their Instagram, and I think there is a little bit of that. They've certainly gone through Instagram, but also I don't want to say too much more because I don't want it to stop our chances of getting Dolph on the podcast. But the headline is 100% accurate. That's what I will say. Google that in your own time, people. Here we go. The human internet wins again, says Mike Howell. The clip was from Red Scorpion. There you go.
But wouldn't it be great if they ever do like a director's cut of Rocky 4 just to include that one scene from Red Scorpion, just to throw the audience? Like, I would love that.
Well,
like,
just
Sly's got enough money. He could buy the rights to the film, I'm sure.
You know what would be great, actually, Charlie, is if in movies, you know, like they do in the Marvel universe, where there's like a crossover, like Samuel Jackson will rock up and tell them what's going to happen or whatever. But it'd be great if they just did that for movies. So like basically, you watch Rocky 4, and then after the credits, like you don't know if it's him or the next character, and it kind of puts you forward to the next movie. That's the,
Yeah, 100%. We know what it's like. It's like when people cut those fan trailers, so they'll say, they want Dolph Lundgren to play like Spider-Man, and so they'll just cut together all these kind of... That's what you could do. You could make... You know what? I don't know if we have these kind of people listening to our show, but if someone wants to cut a pure Dolph film using all these characters from all his films, cut them all together so it looks like everyone in the film is Dolph Lundgren, being John Malkovich style, that is a film I would watch. You've sold one ticket there. Because how hard could it be? Like, it's always going to be, like, his films will always follow a similar kind of vein, right? So I'm sure you could just cut him out and just cut scenes together with him. It doesn't have to make sense. I'm not asking for an overarching plot.
Come on, guys. We just want a Dolph compilation.
Dolph v. Dolph.
Yeah.
Take 2 fight scenes from Dolph and make it look like Dolph's fighting himself.
Oh, yeah,
I'd
a
like to see
Dolph-off. We've got ourselves a Dolph-off.
Have you seen Logan yet?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
Spoiler alert. We'll give people... Mike, how can you time code this? But it's a great film, but one of the best parts is old Hugh Jackman fighting young Hugh Jackman, right? Isn't that fucking awesome?
I mean, I love young Hugh Jackman's haircut. He actually reminds me of young Hugh Jackman. I thought they did a really good job of that, because there was a time where Hugh Jackman used to kind of play those characters with those kind of like just bulky fucking haircuts.
What was that show he was on? Was it called Corelli?
Yeah,
that was like his first job where he played like that crim. The first thing I said when he came out is he's got Corelli's haircut again.
Right. I love that. I was like, oh, it's Wolverine Corelli. It's Corelli-Verine. Corelli-Verine.
Oh, it's Erskineville King's Wolverine. That's a fucking deep cut. Aussie film deep cut.
I was glad that film gave that character, I think they really made a really fantastic film. I didn't quite love it as much as perhaps Justin loved it. Like, Justin was like, this is like, the best superhero film since The Dark Knight. And I was like, I think it's in that conversation, definitely. Like, I really, really liked it. And I thought there was like heaps of it that I really loved. But I still kind of think it didn't quite get there as like an all-time classic, but it was very, very good.
Easily the best Wolverine has been on camera.
Easily. I mean, I thought it was brilliant for Hugh Jackman. It was brilliant for Patrick Stewart. Like, I mean, Stephen Merchant was cool in it. The kid is amazing. Like, she did such a great job. Like, it was funny enough. It was well shot. The fight scenes. Like, I heard some people going, oh, they didn't like the violence. But I was like, no. This whole time, I haven't quite liked that Wolverine hasn't been able to be Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. There's a lot of very emotional parts to the film. But the part that got me most choked up was at the end when Wolverine and his daughter lay waste to an entire platoon of soldiers. Like, I literally got choked up, because what they do so well in that film is work in these themes of, being broken. And, this character finds out he has a daughter, and the tragedy of that is she is broken like he is. Like, she will never be able to get close to anyone because she's been designed for one purpose, and that's to kill. So in that one brief moment where they lay waste, it's the only time in their lives they're ever going to experience anything close to kind of like love, because this is what they're born to do. And finally she's got someone she can do that with, because he's going to die and she's going to have no one who understands that. And I was just like, I wonder if I'll get this choked up with every film where I see a 10-year-old girl can cut a man's leg in two.
Right. But that's what I thought was really great about it, was that and I thought the fighting and the way that the fightings expressed the emotions of the film was really, really powerful. And I thought they did a really good job of, lots of like stillness and silence and plot setting and character setting, and then just really great. Because what it reminded me is you don't need relentless enthusiasm, like relentless fights and relentless kind of action and momentum. What you need is like some really good fights and action and momentum, but then in between, make us give a fuck about these people before you make them fight each other.
Yeah. Which brings me to, have you seen the trailer for Justice League?
Oh boy. I mean, they had the opposite approach. They've spent the last 5 years making us hate all those characters before they put them together.
It's really funny. Like it's like they don't get it. They're either they remind me of like someone who has bought a lemon and they keep spending money on the lemon, getting it fixed. And you're like, just fucking sell it. Just buy a new car, start again. Like just sell it. But because they're so fucking pot deep and they've been bragging about this car, they keep fucking just like spending more money on it and it just keeps fucking breaking down. Like there's just nothing about that film that makes me want to see it. Like nothing at all.
I mean, firstly, that describes my car. So now I have some sympathy for them. Now that you put it that way, I finally look at them and go, oh, I get it. I see why you're flushing all this money down the toilet now. You love it and you believe in it and you refuse to acknowledge its flaws.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know what? That's bullshit. Who am I kidding? I will see it. But it's just so... I mean, and also, what were you thinking? Like, there was no way coming from the creative team it's coming from that you're going to see anything different to what we've seen before. But that thing you're saying about in between the spectacle, just give us something that we can hook into. I just don't get that. Like, you just don't, and nothing in that clip. It's just like, it might as well just be still images, you know what I mean? Because they all look great and it's all iconic and stuff, but it's just, you don't give a shit. Like, you don't care about seeing them in motion.
No, there's just nothing exciting about it. And did you see the Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah, which looked great.
Yeah, and Michael Keaton, of course. So, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm biased. Yeah. I know. I read some very nerdy article on online today, which was like why Michael Keaton could save Marvel's villain problems. And it's like, because they talk about, when DC have always had the market cornered on good villains.
Absolutely.
But Marvel, especially in the films, it's always like some faceless, like, robot army or alien army or whatever. But they haven't had a character who's like, apart from maybe Jeff Bridges in the first Iron Man.
Well, I mean,
you would argue,
Loki.
I
think Loki, but again, Loki's more camp villain rather than like terrifying,
scary
actual villain.
Yeah. So they were saying that judging from the casting of Michael Keaton and the tone of the film, that he actually could be a good villain. But I don't know how you get that from 2.5 minutes.
I don't know. I reckon that kid's good. I reckon he's going to be good as Spider-Man. It looks good. It looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'd fucking love that thing that he's got that the suit seems to operate on like. Do you remember in the 90s all those Puma twist top sneakers you could buy where like you could tighten the sneaker by twisting this little dial and then to release it you'd press the button and the shoe would open up? He's got one of those on his chest. It's the spider symbol.
Got to pump it. This is my Spider-Man pump. Hang on. I'll go up I'm in a wall. I'm just going to pump it up.
Yeah, well, he's a 15-year-old boy, so if Annie Mae heard that
it's all right.
coming from his bedroom,
I'm just
she'd be
masturbating,
like,
Annie Mae. It's fine. I'm just masturbating. I'm certainly not the world-famous Spider-Man. I'm masturbating.
I don't know why he should tell me when he's masturbating.
Yeah.
All the time.
We should finish up because it's opening night for me today. So, but we need to talk about our big live TOFOP show that we are doing at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. It is now on sale to everybody as of today. Well, as of today when we're recording, but it is selling very, very quickly. It's almost half sold out already, and it's only officially just gone on sale today. So I can confirm some guests, Charlie, to you and also the audience.
All right.
So obviously John Deeks is doing the show. We have the amazing John Deeks. Daniel Sloss is confirmed to do the show. Always good to have Daniel on. Charlie loves Daniel.
Veto. No.
Nick Cody is doing a live show. of ours for the
No,
first
definitely
time.
not.
I know you really like Nick
No.
Cody, so
No,
you said
not
to me
coming on.
actually when we were overseas last year that you'd love to get Nick Cody again.
Over my dead body.
I mean, sure, we invited him at LA Pod Fest and he didn't rock up, but we're going to give him another go and see if he can make this one. And last but definitely not least, Celia Piccola is going to come and do the show. She's not even doing the show at the Comedy Festival.
absolutely not.
But she's
No,
always brilliant on the
definitely
podcast. So 3 amazing guests as well as John Deeks. And there will be
Well, we'll
more,
wait and see. I haven't confirmed.
superstars to
I haven't
come, but
confirmed your picks.
Charlie
Haven't confirmed
has
your picks.
enjoyed each of those picks and
I
loves.
might just filibuster.
The show is on at 10:45 p.m. I believe on April the 15th because I have a show earlier. And of course, it will star Celia Piccola, who. What's the thing you like about Celia the most, Charlie? Again, you were telling me off air.
Was I?
Yeah, you love her. Remember, you love Celia Piccola.
Rosehaven.
Yep.
Oh
you
yeah,
love that.
yeah. I love her.
And
I love
you love
her.
Nick Cody. What are you loving about Nick Cody?
I love that he's got 2 first names.
And last but not least, Daniel Sloss. You love him because, of course, why?
Because it rhymes with the boss, and I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan.
Okay, so that all makes sense. So better get tickets to that because there'll be quality riffing and improvisation, much like that you just heard. My tour is on sale all around the country. I'm currently in Melbourne. It is selling out fast. Then I am at the Sydney Opera House Saturday, April the 8th. 2 shows only. They're my only Sydney shows of this show, which is my favourite show that I've ever done. So I'd love if you came out. Justin Hamilton's doing support for those 2 shows. And then I'm on to Wollongong, Darwin, Perth, Newcastle, and a bunch of others to come still.
Yep. And if you want to support the show, you can always visit our Patreon site, which is patreon.com/TOFOP. We may install a Dolph level soon, which will enable Will and I to stay in LA and meet Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get him on the show. That's one of the plans, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to. I mean, there's 2 people now we really have to get on the show at some stage, Dolph Lundgren and Russell Crowe. But I think Russell for the final episode.
George Miller. There's 3. There's 3.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, George Miller.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're
and
making
Peter
a
Russell
list.
and Peter Russell Clark.
Yeah, of course. And
Come and get it.
Come and get it. And come and get it. Come and get it. The drag artist named after Peter Russell Clark's catchphrase.
I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.